What is up, guys? It is your friendly neighborhood dingo, and today I have a video coming out of a country that I haven't discussed on this channel before. Now, I like to speak about countries that certainly respond to Islam or the Islamization of countries in a way that's very different to how the West generally responds. I've spoken about Singapore, India, Poland, China, and even Japan. Now, Japan is the focus of today's video because I think we're once again seeing an example of how the Japanese don't go about it silently, actually oppose even simple things like building very large mosques in a city that apparently didn't have one before. Now, someone might immediately say, oh, what's the problem with one mosque? Well, that's how it starts. Before you know it, everything is changing in your city and suddenly you become like the UK. So I think the Japanese have learnt this and they are hitting back hard and fast very early on in this process. Now, this is happening in a city called Fujisawa, and you can see in this video, the Japanese have decided to actually take to the streets to protest what they think is a big problem for their country. Now, we know Japan is quite homogenous. They have a very strong cultural adherence, I would say. A lot of Western countries, they no longer even believe in the notion of nationhood. They don't believe places like Australia or the United States or even Canada are actual countries. They're even saying things like, you know, no one's illegal on stolen land and you just do whatever the fuck you want. But the Japanese aren't like that. Let's have a look. Yeah, that was from one of the protests, and I'll just quickly mute this one because you'll just see similar, lots of police, a huge police presence here because, yes, even in Japan, the Red-Green Alliance exists, believe it or not, because leftists, Japanese leftists, went to protest against these people on behalf of the green side or the Islamist side. Now, I'll mute this video and you can see how it's going. But I just wanted to give you a quick background of how all of this went down because in Fujisawa, like I said, there are no mosques. And apparently, the development application that was submitted by the Islamist group that is trying to build this, it met all the legal standards for approval. So the city did in fact go ahead and approve it. And it is on private land. So no public funding or anything like that here. And the city has actually informed these people that they can't just arbitrarily revoke permission unless there is an actual legal violation. And what they're saying here is that the group, or the Islamist group, they have essentially followed all required rules or, they ticked all the boxes to be able to build this mosque, and all the legal side started in August 2023. So essentially been almost 3 years since this has been an issue, but this is exploding now. Quick note before we move on, please remember to give the video a like and hit subscribe. This channel is almost entirely fan supported, so if you wanted to support the work and the mission behind it, consider joining Patreon. That's what keeps the channel alive and gives you early access. It's completely ad-free on long and uncensored videos, written articles, and member-only chats. And to give you a little bit of background, I wanted to show you this tweet from someone in Japan. Now, in the video I made about Japan, I did say a point of contention has been how to deal with people who die. Now, Muslims, as you know, they bury their dead, whereas in Japan, it's cremation. Therefore, in Japan, they don't really have the grounds for burial and all that. They just cremate their dead. And this has caused a lot of conflict, as you do, like in other countries, Muslims demand halal meat, suddenly everybody is eating halal meat. It's the exact same thing, once again. Like they simply just need to demand that everybody else bend or change their rules and customs and culture to accommodate them versus them actually adapting to the rules and culture of the host nation. That never happens. If you say this plainly, you're the bad guy. But it is reality, and it seems like some of the problems around this issue is also happening because of cremation. So what they're saying is the group behind this, they are secretly bringing in dead bodies and they're preparing them for burial in the mosque shower room, and that's causing a lot of issues. And I don't think they have the appropriate permissions to actually do this, because they filed and said we aren't doing anything related to burials or preparation of bodies here. But the Japanese clearly believe that this is not true. They believe some sort of takiya is happening where they're using the shower room as something else, as you can see here. And they're also saying that there's a lot of noise issues. Now, this is a problem I've called out many times. Like, if you don't fight back hard against this will just change everything in your neighborhood. And a lot of the time, when the demographics in your neighborhood change completely, there's nothing you can do. It'll be too late. So the Japanese want to fight against this earlier rather than later. They don't want to be woken up at 4 a.m. with the adhan. It doesn't relate to them. They're not Muslim. Why do they need to hear about this? Muslims are a small minority in Japan, and therefore, why do they need to broadcast the call to prayer 5 times a day? Who are they broadcasting to? In my opinion, this is nothing more than power projection, really. And of course, the Friday prayers. We've seen that happening in the UK where, there's so much traffic. Everything's blocked up because everyone just parks their cars on streets. It's completely true. If you go to a heavily Muslim area, even in Australia, you see this very commonly. And I'm glad the Japanese are taking a stand against this right now. Now, one very interesting thing, because I did say there was no public funding, but the Japanese who stand against this are saying that it has come to light that Fujisawa City Hall side arranged the construction site for the Fujisawa City Miyahara Mosque. So it almost seems like there's a bit of public involvement here, in which case I feel like it is well within everyone's right to go and protest against this and ensure that this doesn't happen. And of course, they're saying that the far left had a lot to do with this. And I have a few videos here where the Japanese left, I mean, it's sometimes very hard for me to accept that there is a red-green alliance, even in Japan of all places. But yeah, it's like an infestation, really, this ideology. And have a look. They are protesting against these people who are rightly concerned about this mosque. Look at that. Yeah, the left are crazy. Wherever they are, I just don't understand why they would want to ally with Islamists, in Japan especially. Have they not seen what's going on in Europe? Have they not seen what's happening in the US right now, and even places like Australia? Like, the second you give the Islamist ideology an inch, they will take a mile. One mosque is going to change into 10 mosques, and later 100 mosques in one city. And they're not going to be using it during Eid or big festivities. They're going to pray in the middle of the road, somewhere important, somewhere where there's a landmark or something to assert their dominance and to show everybody that their numbers are growing. That's exactly what they do. They're going to start complaining that you're eating in front of them during Ramadan. They're going to pressure butchers and other industries to change everything so that halal meat becomes the standard. This is not coexistence. This is essentially a takeover if you allow this to happen. Because like I said, Islamists don't adapt to the host nation. They expect the host nation to adapt to them. That is the key difference between Islamic immigrants and everybody else. Now, regardless of what the left like to believe, this is reality, and this is reality on the ground. You have to completely shut your eyes and remove your ears to believe anything but this as what is happening on the ground in all these countries right now. And you can see the left are very bold in Japan.
てめえら寄ってたかってムスリムの人間いじめて楽しいかおいキックタケてめえこれめちゃくちゃにしてどうする気だこらやめてよやめて お前こんなめちゃくちゃにして何が面白いんだよおい。外人いじめててめえ何が面白いんだ言ってみろこの野郎。
くださいよ。
おい聞きたけ。
足を踏まないでください。
ふざけんじゃねえぞてめえ。
教えてください。教えてください。
おい答えろ聞きたけてめえは。
話し合いで会議。
やめろっててめえらが差別やめろよ。いや逆ふざけんじゃねえぞこのレーシストが。怖い聞きたけてめえ答えろ出ろ。押すなおじちゃん押すな。お前押すんじゃねえよこら。
いいから出ろ。
押すんじゃねえこら。てめえらボーボーだぞこれ。おいこのガキふざけんなよてめえ。おい出ろってふざけんじゃねえこら。この親父でおいてめえ掴むんじゃねえよこら。クソレーシストてめえとっとと話せ。やっていいことと分かんねえかおめえが。
Yeah, that's pretty crazy because I feel like even here, the other side is actually quite polite. Whereas this guy goes in swearing and yeah, this is weird. They start calling these people racists. In English, actually. They use the word racist. It's crazy. Like, how is it racist? Like, this is a culture clash. This is a clash of civilizations, essentially. Is it racist to not want an idea, an ideology? Well, I don't even want to call it a religion because it's an ideology, a political ideology masquerading as a religion. It is an ideology that seeks to dominate you once it can. It does not seek to coexist. They don't make this a secret. They tell you outright, yeah, we're here to take over. And we actually don't need to look very far. We can look in Japan to see exactly how they do it with numbers. Now, of course, they don't have a majority, but at the same time, it doesn't stop them from praying in these large crowds in front of the largest castle in Japan. Look at them. Just gonna mute that video. How is this different to what we see in Europe? Like, they just can't help themselves. They have to do this. This is Japan. They are a peaceful, homogenous people. Some of the most polite, most welcoming people you would find anywhere in the world. And yet you are pushing these people to their limit. Some of the most hospitable, like, you know you're in the wrong when you push the Japanese people to their limit. I've been to Japan. I know what these people are like. They're so polite, so kind to you. Always really welcoming, always wanting you to experience their culture. I mean, I've taken part in many of those green tea ceremonies over there. I enjoyed their art, loved the country. And yet, look at these people. They're praying in public or building mosques. Immediately, you already see all these signs that, hey, these people aren't here to coexist. And in fact, they probably think Japanese culture, Japanese heritage, everything around, everything in the country is rather stupid. And they probably want to replace it with the same Arab colonialist BS we see everywhere else. Hijabs, niqabs, how you speak, segregation, banning music, banning art, allowing child marriages to happen. That is the type of mindset these people bring in numbers. And the Japanese absolutely should not stand for it. And I think what they're doing right now, putting that pressure, is what essentially every country has to do. They are brave enough to take to the streets and say, we don't want not even a single mosque here, because the premise on which they are building this mosque to coexist, to have a space to pray, they can see through the lies. And I've looked through the Japanese Twitter quite a bit, and they are using the word taqiyya. They are really aware, I feel like, compared to a lot of Western countries, as to what Islam represents for their homogenous country. It is a culture that deserves protection. It is a culture that deserves to not go extinct. It is a culture that does not deserve to coexist with an ideology, with a culture, with a religion that seeks to impose domination and violence against people who do not agree with it. Look guys, that's all I had for today. Once again, if you liked the video, please give it a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and leave your comments down in the comment section below. As always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.
In the neon haze of a broken dawn, steel towers hum, but the wild runs on. A shadow moves through the circus below, half machine, half beast, with a violet glow. They thought the outback was lost to the flame, but a dingo returned